It's Wednesday night. It's amateur Hammond organ recital night. Okay, take it away, Scutters.
Red Dwarf, too hot for TV.
Welcome back to Red Dwarf, Too Hot for TV. Yes, as we continue our journey through spin-offery from other programmes, we've landed on Red Dwarf, and today I'm joined by Richie Morgan. Richie, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me back.
It's wonderful to have you back and to be talking about something that's not even Doctor Who.
I know, that's mad, isn't it? We have to force ourselves sometimes. It's practice for being around our partners.
Exactly. It was either this or talk about politics or something like that.
Yeah.
So I need to know, Richie, are you a Red Dwarf fan? How long have you been a Red Dwarf fan? What's going on?
I've been a Red Dwarf fan for most of my life. I think anyone our age, I think Red Dwarf is probably... Not anyone our age, but our type of people, you know what I mean? It's definitely played a part in our childhoods, and I think it was very Quarantine was my first episode when it went out, and then but then by series 6 I was fully on board, and then obviously we had the cliffhanger at the end of series 6, and when you're a kid you take cliffhangers very seriously. I don't know when Red Dwarf 7 came out, but the thing that I remember between 6, 7 and 8 is that the gap seemed like forever.
Oh yeah,
because it was always very when a series ends it comes back the following year, and it didn't. It was 2-3 years or something like that.
It was a long time, and it felt like the gap between classic Doctor Who ending and new Doctor Who starting, but in my childlike brain.
Well, I remember because I was in primary school when 6 was on, and then I was in high school when 7 came on, so I'm going to say about 3 years. Well, no, actually it can't be 3 years because 8 was on in 99. So it's maybe not even that much. So
6 was 93.
Oh, was it 93?
And 7 was 97.
Oh, fuck. Oh, so it was a while then. Yeah. Okay.
But there was all that stuff, wasn't there, with Craig Charles?
Yes.
Rape allegations and things like that.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
we all forgot about that, didn't we?
Chris Barry was off being Mr. British and being the biggest star in England. It just sort of... It just took them a long time to get it out. So I think...
I know, obviously that's when Doug and Rob split.
Yeah.
And then that's when I don't know if that's when the movie chat kicked off, but...
Yeah, I think it kicked off about then and obviously went on for about a decade and a half.
When was Red Dwarf Night? Sorry.
The important stuff.
Because I remember there was always stuff happening.
Yeah.
And also, let's not forget as well that the big repeat. So the year after Red Dwarf 6... they started the repeat of series 1 right up to 6, which is quite funny because I was trying to think about it because I knew you were going to ask me this. I was thinking about my history of Red Dwarf, and it was I remember it was kind of patchy because it was on a Friday night every week, and you were kind of at the mercy of if your parents wanted to go out, you had to go out with your parents.
Yeah.
And if you missed it, you just missed it, which was hellish. Until he started buying the videotapes. And then there was the Smeg Ups and the Smeg Outs and the...
Red Dwarf Night, which was 98.
Was it 98? So it's between 7 and 8, yeah. We're watching all of Red Dwarf Night hoping for a snippet of news about...
The first one I watched go out live was 6.
Okay.
But I'd seen, I think some friend somewhere had it on video, and then I started buying videos. But, you got 2 episodes on a fucking tape, didn't you? Or 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was every series was 2 tapes.
Yeah.
So it was 3 episodes of tape, basically, yeah.
So I remember seeing Backwards and, the big hitters, and then suddenly getting an episode from series 1 and being like, what is this show? It's like when you discover Doctor Who was in black and white at one point.
Yeah.
It's like there's no Crichton. Holly's different because my first Holly was female Holly, and it's like.
Do you remember the videotapes had said along the bottom "never repeated"?
Oh really?
Yeah, they would say at the bottom of the tapes it says, "I'm like never." This was obviously released on before the big rerun. Also, the other thing as well about the Red Dwarf repeats is that we were anyone that's watched the Armando Iannucci show will know this, but people up here in Scotland were cursed with the phrase "except for viewers in Scotland."
I know this.
Where we'd always get something Scottish on instead, so it wouldn't be like we'd miss. There was episodes that weren't on, and yeah, so it was a very. But it's just like it was like getting into anything at that time. It was always like patchy, and then you filled in the gaps by buying videotapes and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I was obsessed. Like it was all very like following all the, buying all the different releases. Like, do you remember there was a videotape? It was in a red box, or I think it was 2 tapes. And it was called 6 of the Best.
Yes,
and it had a CD in it.
The CD was a phenomenal thing when I was like 12 years old or whatever it was. Just 2 guys talking about creating a television show. It was
essentially a podcast. Yeah. It's great. Also, I've got this. Hold on. Did you ever have this?
Oh fucking hell! So you're holding up. What is it?
The Red Dwarf 1996 logbook. I got it for Christmas, and it's like a diary, but it's got entries from all the cast, like recipes and.
I've seen it, but hang on. There's recipes. So you're gonna do a video on the recipes?
No, like not detailed recipes, but just quotes and like pictures and gazpacho soup day and all that sort of shit. So yeah, there was a lot. There was a decent amount of merch. I find it's quite a weird show to. It's not like Doctor Who or Star Trek or anything like that because it's kind of in that weird place where it is a sitcom.
Yeah.
But it has a particular type of audience, and obviously kids loved it. Yeah,
there was but you didn't get figures. You were never if you could find a model of Starbug anywhere, you were you'd really sort of landed on your feet. But
there was a Crichton model kit.
Yes, from Seven's Models.
Yeah, and it was I remember that. But no, it's always mad that there's never been like a decent. All I want is a good Starbug.
Yeah, but no Dapole, Lister, Cat, Rimmer, whatever. It's that weird thing of like, it felt like a sort of stand-in Doctor Who, like after getting into Doctor Who and it finishing the same year I got into it, that it's like, it was all the same people behind, like in terms of VFX and stuff like that. And so you sort of get this, it's like, okay, well if I can't have Doctor Who, what other 25-minute episode sci-fi show is there with some spaceships and stuff? And that was Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf 1 is, as an adult, is my favourite season. But I remember my first episode of the first series, and I was sick all day, but there was a school disco going on, and I was like, I'm going to go to that school disco, and I went to the school disco, and I fucking threw up, and my mum had to come and pick me up, and I remember tucking me into bed, and then like, I had a little black and white TV at the end of my bed, and I think it was Future Echoes, and I switched it on, and it was just like something about the like going from Red Dwarf 6 being what it was, and that intro sequence in Red Dwarf 1 was just like, what is happening? But it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
that title sequence is.
It's amazing, like because the title sequence sort of has a promise of this big epic sci-fi thing, and then it's very much a stagey sitcom. It's in those later seasons where they get bigger and better with the effects and the ambition.
Mm-hmm. And that weird series 2 thing where they add like a couple of things to the set, and that has a wee bit more money.
Yeah, it's an odd series because it refuses to die, like a lot of things. And we'll come to the future of Red Dwarf maybe at the end of the podcast. I'm amazed when I go back to it now, and indeed watch the newer stuff, how many big, how much high concept sci-fi they sometimes manage to cram into 30 minutes and have stories that never outstay their welcome, but also never seem too short. In a way that, when Doctor Who first came back, they were still getting used to the 45-minute format, and you'd be like, oh, that doesn't, the pacing was off on some of the episodes.
Yeah. Or sometimes that could have used another 15 minutes. Or
exactly. But with Red Dwarf, it was just like, I guess they just struck gold, like, for the first.
Yeah, I think it is like, Because a sci-fi comedy, I mean, there's a lot of sci-fi comedies that I love, but I feel like sci-fi comedy is such a easy thing to get wrong.
Yeah.
Because it feels like all you have to do is just bring in something absurd and go, that's a weird sci-fi thing. But like Red Dwarf, I think the magic of Red Dwarf is that the characters are so, I guess, relatable in a way, or likable, that seeing it all through their eyes is kind of where the magic of it comes from, and their reactions to stuff. But it is quite funny because, yeah, you're right. It's proper it's proper sci-fi in for a lot of it, and like the stuff like going backwards. Was that not based on like Stephen Hawking's idea of time getting to a point and running backwards or something? I can't remember. Possibly. But there was a lot of that sort of stuff going on. Yeah. But
I think it's because it's not poking fun at the sci-fi. It takes the sci-fi seriously and the comedy seriously. And the comedy isn't, oh, look at these funny people with funny masks or silly robots and stuff like that. Although it's all there.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of the success of it.
Too hot for TV.
We were talking about what to do, and I thought it would be a good idea to jump back right to the start. In fact, before Red Dwarf, and talk about Dave Hollins' Space Cadet. Now, for the uninitiated out there, what is it?
Dave Hollins' Space Cadet was a sketch that was included in a sketch show called Son of Cliche that was written by Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. And it was a radio sketch show from like 1984.
Yeah.
It's just essentially the kind of germ of Red Dwarf is in there, like the origins of Red Dwarf are in there, and a lot of the jokes end up getting repeated in the TV show as well. But what's funny about what was funny when you sent that to me, and I was like, that's really weird. I am so aware of Dave Hollins' Space Cadet because it gets mentioned in all the books and stuff, and I think the omnibus as a script for one of the sketches in it.
Right.
But I'd never heard it.
No, me neither. Weird.
I might have heard it in a documentary or something, a clip, but I've never heard it properly, so it never occurred to me that they would just be on YouTube.
Which they are, several times over, if anybody wants to listen to them. But well done, you passed the test of reading the wiki article about the history of Dave Hollins.
Oh, yeah.
So, how much like Red Dwarf is this?
I don't think it's that much like Red Dwarf, to be honest with you, other than being able to spot, like, there's a sort of sense of humour to it, and, like, obviously some of the jokes are just repeated, but it's a bit more like, it's kind of like a bit more like a funny version of old sci-fi, if that makes sense. But I think it helps as well that it's like a proper live radio sketch show with a live audience, which is great. Like, I think that sounds really good, but it sounds like an old, it's like it's presented almost like an old kind of, like the character of Dave Hollins sounds like he should be in space.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to Lister, who's just, everyman. When I listen to the sketches, I just put them on, and a couple of times it got a good laugh out of me.
Yeah.
Like, it took me by surprise, actually. This first sketch that we listened to was it's Dave Hollins meeting the two aliens.
Yeah.
The name Jan Vogel's just, it's such a funny name. It started off with that one, which is a wee bit more, I mean, that's completely unlike Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
And then the kind of idea of him being lost in space, being in suspended animation, kind of came out a wee bit after that. And then there's a weird sketch at the end, which I didn't enjoy, which was like, you come across a moon and it turns out to be a fat man.
Yeah.
In a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, very odd, very odd.
It's really strange.
How it is like Red Dwarf, that first one though, is that Dave Hollins gets decapitated at the end, so it's all of a sudden this series just isn't in with its own continuity anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like that is the straight away by episode 2 they are like, we don't care about continuity. but you're right. What I said earlier about Red Dwarf taking the sci-fi seriously, this is very much like you say, a pastiche on perhaps like 1950s sort of sci-fi and things like that. So it's a bit more poking fun at it, but it's still got some big, I would say it's not big ideas at the heart of it, it's big humour. Like it's modern humour, as in 1984 modern humour. It's not just like, oh, aliens with funny heads, although there are aliens with funny traditions who cut their heads off, and they have multiple husbands and all this, which is hilarious. How similar is Dave Hollins to any of the Red Dwarf crew then?
I mean, the only thing that's similar is that he's slightly in above his head and out of time and out of place, basically. But honestly, I didn't. If there wasn't jokes that were repeated in Red Dwarf, and I'd listened to it and nobody told me, I probably wouldn't have made the connection. Really.
So what are the jokes? There's some of the jokes that get repeated. What are those bits of DNA they share?
The Norweb one
Yes.
specifically. In fact, I wonder if that's... Yeah, the Norweb one, which is obviously just a joke that Holly makes, but, you know, the one about leaving the German sausage half-eaten in the kitchen, and it now covers 7/8 of the world's surface and all that sort of stuff. The joke about the Volvo Wars was good. That's quite Red Dwarf. You know, they always like to throw in, like, the mad historical events. Like, one of my favourite Red Dwarf jokes is, like, everyone remembers the word of the day Cliff Richard was shot. You know, that sort of stuff. Actually, I only discovered this today, but the Jan Vogels one, where they're like, do you know a guy called Jan Vogels? You know, he's from Earth. That gets used in the unfinished script that was meant to start season 3. Right,
okay.
Because you know how they had an episode called Dad, which follows on Lister getting pregnant, basically, and then they get halfway through writing it and they get rid of it and just start again with backwards. But there's a joke in that script where 2 time travelers from something called like the Infinity Force or something, where they like have to, they're 2 agents that keep things on track, but they pop out and they speak to Rimmer and they ask him where he's from, and he says 22nd century, and they're like, do you know Bill? And he's always wearing a sports jacket, and Rimmer's like, I don't know. But yeah, I think the Norweb one is the main one.
Yeah, but tonally the similar ones as well. You know, there's the joke about PE teachers being the
the PE teachers, of course. Yeah,
and then like the intelligent life form being biros and stuff like that, which isn't. That's not featured in Red Dwarf, but they're always picking up something on the scanner that's like a sock or something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I enjoyed that. Well, it's worth mentioning as well that the sketches are like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
3 minutes max. So they're very quick. They're just short scenes, basically, with like usually 2 voices or 3 at the most. But it's I enjoyed the PE teacher joke. He says they're registering an IQ, and it's like, an IQ of what? He's like, it just says they have an IQ.
There's not a huge amount in terms of plot. They are just very short sketches. But obviously what we do have is Chris Barry showing up here playing Hab the computer.
Is he the computer? Okay.
Yeah. So I guess that's probably the element that's, you know, the sort of nearest to Red Dwarf, is the fact that we have a Holly-esque character.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard the rest of the show, but I know he's like a contributor in it as well, so he must have been in loads of other sketches. I mean, you forget, it's the thing about Chris Barry as well, is he's really good at voices.
Does this feel like a sort of archaic form of entertainment in a way? Like, does this feel more dated, weirdly, than the TV show?
I mean, I don't listen to Radio 4.
Really? You surprised me.
Which is where, you know, I could say nobody's done anything like this in years, and then someone would tell me there's a great live sketch comedy on Radio 4, and I would have no idea. There might be, but this feels like it probably would have been a wee bit more mainstream in the 80s. I certainly remember like listening to comedy shows on Radio 1 in the 90s. Yeah. And you just wouldn't get that now. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like, it's definitely quite old-fashioned. And the fact that it's framed to be a bit more old-fashioned than that. It's the live aspect of it and stuff as well. It's not mixed. It's not like, you know, like the voice of the computer is like just an actor speaking through a voice changer, and there's an audience in the room with them, and someone will be doing sound effects, and
you can hear,
but you can feel it
up as well.
Yeah, you can hear it and you can feel it in the performance, and it's really great.
I mean, this again, like you say, probably wouldn't happen now, but both Little Britain and the League of Gentlemen came from radio shows first up, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah.
I knew Little Britain did, yeah. I guess there's quite a few. Mighty Bush was radio as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's just, you can't, I just can't imagine a world where Netflix are like, oh, we've picked up The Archers and we're going to turn it into The Archers verse.
I know. Although I feel like, I mean, audio, like, I mean, your Big Finish and all that sort of stuff, it's all done quite differently now. But podcasting seems to be where all that happens now. Certainly what people used to call radio dramas are getting called podcasts now. or Audible originals, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. So, could you see a TV series that isn't Red Dwarf being spawned from this, i.e. a Dave Hollins thing, or were they right to turn it into something more?
I can see it happening, but I just don't.
It wouldn't run for 10, 13 series or whatever it was.
No, absolutely not. Like, I mean, Red Dwarf lasted as long as it did by changing as well. It's quite funny because, like, when I was looking at the Dave Hollins stuff, and then that led me to that Lost Series 3 episode stuff, and it led me to... There's a sketch on YouTube, which is from the Body Snatcher collection, which has got great special features, but it's got the storyboards with narration from Chris Barry doing the scenes that survive from the scenes that were finished in the script, and that Dave Hollins one is in it. There's also a scene where Lister meets his dad in the pub in the past, like they do a time slides thing. And what's interesting is, what I was thinking about it was that, like, they were obviously writing it, and I think they didn't like the idea of the pregnancy and all that sort of stuff, so they just abandoned it and put all the information in the opening crawl at the start backwards. And I think the other thing that was happening there, I feel like they probably written themselves into a corner by adhering to continuity too much. And I can't remember which way round it was, but I remember an interview on one of the special features where they're talking about, at some point in the series, Lister had a relationship with Kachansky, whereas at the beginning of the show he didn't. And he just thought it's kind of weird for him to hold on to this torch for this long when he didn't.
I think it's series 3, isn't it? It's like when it comes back revamped and renewed, all of a sudden Kachansky isn't just somebody he saw across a crowded room and fancied. They actually were together. It
sounds like they were going to start off by series 3 by explaining how they got to the captain's quarters, by explaining how Holly's changed, and like what happened to Crichton and why he came back. Like, I think it was going to start with Crichton getting his head changed and getting fixed after the bike crash, and like they obviously just at some point went, what's the point? But like, I know that one of them was keen on continuity and the other one just went, fuck it.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I wonder. I mean, Red Dwarf with 2 kids in it probably doesn't last very long. It's like if you've got 2 babies you've got to take care of, you're not taking Starbug down to whatever planet.
No, I suppose not. No,
I reckon it's probably got a series worth of gags in it before you just kind of go, how do we take this any further?
Yeah,
and shoot the babies out into space or something like that.
Yeah. So
Dave Hollins, we've talked a little bit about it. Obviously, with no plots or anything, there isn't much to say. So, is there anything else you want to talk about these little skits before we get into the main meat of the episode?
Sometimes I think with Red Dwarf that I've just loved it for so long that am I laughing at it because I know it and I love it. But when I listen to Dave Hollins and I'm like, no, this is funny. Some of this is making me properly laugh. And they really, like, it's just one of those things. It's like I don't want to use the past tense, but they were a good comedy writing duo. I guess I can because they're not anymore. I enjoyed it. It was a nice wee way to kill 18 minutes or whatever it was the YouTube video was. And it's a nice bit of Red Dwarf history that I can't believe I've never experienced before. Yeah,
it's weird that I've just never thought to go anywhere near it, even though the words Dave Hollins Space Cadet is like a screensaver in my mind when I think about Red Dwarf. It's like, I started with Dave Hollins Space Cadet.
What's interesting about Red Dwarf is that my head is full of Red Dwarf trivia. There's a lot of it in there, like, but I don't feel like I had it certainly doesn't get the attention for all the like behind the production stories and all the lost stories and all that sort of stuff that say Doctor Who would get.
Yeah.
And we're so used to the coverage that Doctor Who gets that, like, I can't believe there's not a documentary about the thing we're about to talk about, or I can't believe there's not anything really a good proper telling of the story of what happened to the film.
Yeah.
Or any of that sort of stuff. But obviously the DVDs but it's also worth mentioning that the DVDs have got like the best special features I think I've ever seen on.
Yeah, it's the same team, isn't it? That were behind the Doctor Who ones, and it was.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So they every series has got a documentary, every episode's got a commentary, and it's just they're still fantastic to this day when they do the new series. Like, part of me will be like, oh, I don't need to own the DVD of that. but I do, because
That's why I like owning Back to Earth, because the behind the scenes on it is really, really good.
Yeah. I tried to rewatch Back to Earth recently and I just could not get through it.
It's absolutely brutal.
It is absolutely horrendous. But I think it's because there was a Red Dwarf magazine, but it wasn't going to sustain for 40 fucking years like Doctor Who magazine has. So we were used to, a book comes out about the history of Doctor Who, great, but then little bits of history coming through your letterbox or from W.H. Smith's every month, sort of. So we were constantly exposed to new and exciting facts. And perhaps Red Dwarf fans don't quite have the archaeological nature of Doctor Who fans. Maybe they're a bit fucking cooler.
Red Dwarf is such a weird, because Red Dwarf to me is like a sort of sci-fi sacred cow, but because it's just the UK, like it really hasn't. I mean, they're not saying other countries don't watch it, but like it really is just it's mostly a here thing. I think someone might come back to me and correct me, but like, so it's in this weird space where it's like it's so revered, but at the same time, when they wanted to come back, they're like, you can stick to Dave, mate. Yeah.
Because and you never hear the cast go, oh, we're going to a convention in the States or something like that, because there just wouldn't be the fan base there. I did look actually quite recently about the UK convention that they've done for years, Dimension Jump, and it only happens every 3 or 4 years now.
Okay.
Because it used to happen yearly, and I always thought I must go to that, but and I was like, I wonder when it's on, and it's like our last event was 2022, and we may be back in the next 18 months.
So it's like waiting for a series of Red Dwarf.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, well, we've only really got sort of 6 or 7 stars. Even for Doctor Who fans, you'd be pushing to hear those anecdotes again and again and again until they've done something new.
Especially when the DVDs pretty much have you covered as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, we must rate it. Is it a clanger, a banger, or an average meander?
I'm going to go. I'm just going to say average meander.
I
and
agree.
It's not a mean average meander. It's just
Look, the ratings system is imperfect. We've established this by now. But I like rhyming words.
Okay, good.
So yeah, it's a nice little thing to have that represents the genesis of Red Dwarf. But I can't say I'll be putting it on for my yearly listen to Dave Hollins to be like one of my favourite TV shows or radio shows.
It's much easier to do than Dark Star, I'll tell you that.
I saw Dark Star for the first time recently, and that is a difficult watch.
It's a difficult watch. I mean, there's a lot to love about it, but it's not something you're like, I'll stick Dark Star on. I mean, you can tell it's a student film, and it's an impressive student film. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot to love about it. It's like that way where you're like, I'm not going to say it's a bad film, but I'm also not going to recommend that you sit and watch it.
Too hot for TV.
After a pub crawl on his 24th birthday, Dave Lister ended up on one of Saturn's moons, where he is now trying to save enough money to get home. He steals a taxi and picks up a fare, a Space Corps officer who calls himself Todd Hunter and is clearly wearing a fake moustache, who he drops off at an android brothel. Meeting the officer gives him an idea to join the Space Corps in order to get home. Lister is assigned to the mining ship Red Dwarf as a Z-shift technician and is introduced to his supervisor and roommate Arnold Rimmer, who Lister recognises as the Space Corps officer with the fake moustache. After 5 months, Lister is sick of life on board of the ship, so smuggles a cat on board, which gets him put into stasis until the ship's current tour is up. When Lister is released from stasis, he finds the entire crew was killed by a radiation leak and he has been on ice for 3 million years. After he slumps into a depression, Holly, the ship's computer, brings back a hologrammatic Rimmer to keep him company, even though they drove each other mad before the accident. The two discover that Lister's cat evolved into an entire race and society during the 3 million years, but all but one of them has left the ship. They also discover a crashed spaceship called the Nova 5, whose only survivor is a mechanoid called Crichton. The Nova 5 has a duality drive, which takes them back to Earth where they are welcomed as heroes. Back on Earth, Lister leads a simple life with a wife and 2 kids, running a kebab shop, while Rimmer is one of the richest men in the world. Lister realises his perfect life is too perfect and figures out that they are in the addictive video game Better Than Life, which is slowly killing them. Lister goes to find Rimmer and convinces him that they are in the video game. They then go in search of Cat to escape, but the addiction for the game is too strong, and so they decide to stay in the game, forgetting all about the outside world.
Too hot for TV.
So, Richie, when we first discussed doing this, there was one thing that you were very keen to do, and this is the impetus for this podcast. So why don't you tell everybody what the main thing we're covering today is?
We are covering the Red Dwarf novel Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers.
Excellent.
Which is the first Red Dwarf novel.
Yeah. And it was published by Penguin Books and came out on the 2nd of November 1989. News at the time, Series 3 was broadcasting, that's it. It's not like Doctor Who where there's loads of scandal for me to share with you.
So was Series... I was trying to figure this out reading the book. Was Series 3 on when the book came out?
Yes. Series 3 broadcasted from the 14th of November to the 19th of December 1989.
God, what a time to be a Red Dwarf fan.
I know. So, have you read this before?
Yeah. I read it. So, my discovery of this book, we used to... when we were kids, used to go on holiday up north, up to the Highlands basically, and we used to rent this fucking caravan. It was like 70s caravan. It was like orange and brown and all that sort of stuff, and it had no toilet. You had to go outside, and there'd be a hut, and sometimes there'd be a sheep in it, that sort of stuff. But anyway, it was a particularly hot summer, and I got really bad sunburn, and I was feeling a bit miserable, so we went for a walk, and there was a bookshop round the corner from the wee village we were staying in, and my mum was like, just pick a book and I'll get it. And I saw there was a Red Dwarf novel, and I was like, what is this? So I was like, I cannot think what age I must have been, but it would have been early to mid 90s, I suppose. Right. But it would have been after I started watching it, I suppose. So so I picked up this book and then spent the rest of the holiday with my nose firmly planted inside it.
Possibly too young for a book that starts with android sex workers and things like that.
Possibly, yeah, definitely. I can't remember if I think I understood what was going on. I can't remember though, but I remember it being weird. Like, it was such a weird thing to read, like all the stuff about, just that scene. Like, I think as a kid, I remember that opening scene being a wee bit too grimy for me. It's funny now as an adult, but I remember making it feel a wee bit uncomfortable. But I really enjoyed the book. I don't have my original copy because my stepdad, who you'd never in my life, I'd never seen him read another book, but he picked up that book one day and started reading it, and he kept talking to me about it. It was really nice, actually. But he worked in a metalworks. He worked in a foundry. And he did night shifts, so he'd take this book with him on the night shift. But because he worked in the steelworks, sort of just surrounded by fucking burning metal and powder, this book came back and it was getting progressively fatter. And by the time I got to give it back to him, it was this big, fat, horrid, manky paperback, which I kept for a while and eventually I threw out. So,
because it was a hazardous waste.
Yeah, it was a hazardous waste. But what happened after that? Yeah. When you came to me and asked about choosing a spin-off, I knew I wanted to revisit that book. Like, the timing just came up and I was like, perfect, let's do that. So yeah. What about you?
I've never read it before. I've never read a Red Dwarf book in my life. I think if I'd have read it as a kid, it would have annoyed me that it wasn't the continuity of the TV show. But right. I'm an adult and I can deal with these things now. So, and when it because I literally had no idea what it was about. I know that I know they'd got other books but I think there's one called Back to Reality and Backwards and things like that, which I assumed were just novelizations, but as I'm sure we'll get onto, then it's not quite as straightforward. So I started reading it. I was like, oh, it's an origin story. Great, this will be fun. I mean, it'll be interesting how they stop them from meeting and all this stuff. And then when it got into retreading bits of Red Dwarf, for the first sort of 20 pages or something, I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, oh, is this just going to be a novelisation of the first episode? And then it goes its own way, and it's, you know, it's Red Dwarf, I know, with new bits and like deleted. It's like having deleted scenes that are really good. It's just like, it was a fantastic book to discover for the first time, even now.
Yeah, it's interesting that my memory of it is like bit at the beginning, which is a wee bit expanded and a bit different, and then just it was almost like descriptions of episodes. So I was a wee bit worried about going back to it because I thought, am I going to enjoy this as much? But then I read it, and when I read it again, like there's definitely, like you said, the beginning is a sort of expanded version of what we know, like the explanation of what happened to McIntyre. You know, he got into gambling trouble and all that. But the thing that's really, like, when I reread it recently, again, something about the way that they write is very, like, you know, like tonally it's very kind of Rimmer, and you know, they just have a very specific sense of humor. But the stuff about when you meet the character at the start who's dealing with the fact that he's dead, and he's now a hologram, and it's so good. Like the stuff about, you know, he's angry because he starts thinking about his wife, and he starts thinking about the strawberry condoms that he left in the dresser. And then there's a line about, like, there's just a line of strawberry sheathed men waiting at our bedroom door. And then what is it? He goes to smash the table, and his hand passes through the table, and he punches himself in the balls. And it's so good.
And those are like, I genuinely didn't get that it was Rimmer in disguise, because when Lister takes him in the taxi, because I was just, well, it's because he says he's Peterson or Todd Hunter. I can't remember which one.
That's right. He says he's Todd Hunter. Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, well, of course it's Todd Hunter. Why wouldn't it be? And then obviously it's Rimmer in disguise, and I felt like a fucking idiot.
Because he has the fake moustache.
Yes, yeah. But I just like. To have, so Lister's on this planet that he basically got pissed up and ended up the other side of the universe, essentially. Yeah. And just Lister's whole life on that planet, it paints him out to be even more of a sort of slob in a way, or just like someone with no cares at all than the TV show does, I think. Yeah,
it goes a little bit more into explaining why he has a job in Red Dwarf, because it's one of those things that's like, it's almost like, well, how can he be as bad as he is but also have a job?
Yeah.
Or why does he want a job? They just have a bit more time to develop that character. But I think the fact that it's a novel means that everything can be a little bit more gross. They can do things because it's not a sitcom. I kind of enjoyed that though, because I think I just enjoy a sort of slightly deeper alternate take on it. But like the novel for me, like reading it this time round, it got me thinking about how, like, now I'm going to drop a caveat here before I say anything else. I love Red Dwarf. I don't want the Red Dwarf to be in any other form. I'm quite happy with how it is. But I think if Red Dwarf was made now, it would be more like this. It wouldn't be the studio sitcom. But I think like and one of the reasons I love Red Dwarf 1 possibly comes from the book as well. But I feel like it's kind of soaked in this sadness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole thing is like, it's not just straight comedy. Like the whole stuff about how when he comes out of stasis and he gets depressed and he doesn't bother getting dressed, and then he sort of just gets drunk, and then one day, you know, he has Rimmer kind of looking at him, you know, and all that sort of stuff.
It takes a while, doesn't it, for Rimmer to show up in this version?
It does.
And one thing that always bothered me about Red Dwarf when I was a kid, I was like, well, if they hated each other, why would they stay in the same room? And of course you go, but no, it's the only company they've got, and that book, this book explores it a little bit more, and you're just like, of course they may dislike each other, but they don't want to be alone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a book, that's the thing, it's a novel. It's like, what if Red Dwarf, it's not like it's a novelization of Red Dwarf, it's what if Red Dwarf was a novel.
Yeah.
And that's just something that endears me to it so much.
Because it's not the cliche of like, oh, well, it's got an unlimited budget, and obviously it does do things you wouldn't do on TV, but it's not Red Dwarf the movie, you know? It's not like, oh, let's reinvent it as like a big American series. It's just, as you say, it is the novel, and it just building on all those elements that are already there.
And I think, like, it really helps because, like, again, with them being sitcom characters, there's not a huge amount of depth to them. It's like Lister's the slob, Rimmer's the uptight one, you know, but it's like Lister's got a lot of heart in the series, he does, but like in the book they really go for it with, like, He's a good person.
Yeah.
He's just, he just doesn't want to engage with society, basically.
He's
and
not
now
greedy. He doesn't want for much.
Yeah.
He just wants to be, he wants to have his farm and Christine Kachansky and 2 kids, and that's all he wants.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like, him being the outsider, he becomes the outsider, being the only person left. But it does take advantage of the kind of, as you say, the unlimited budget kind of thing about, Holly's like on giant screens and there's hundreds of scutters, and they find, like, I totally forgot about the cat village.
Yes, amazing.
And I know, it's so great, like the abandoned the description of the wee buildings and all that sort of stuff.
The cat village, which is the history of the cats. Just the fact, like, if you watch the first episode of Red Dwarf, I think they say there's about 300 crew members or something, and on this one there's thousands of crew members that perished. I mean, that's one of the many continuity issues that Red Dwarf has, is the crew size tends to jump up and down depending on what season it is. But
it does, because Lister's crew number 169 in the early ones, and then by the time it gets to Justice, it's like Rimmer's murdered 2,000 people or something like that. I don't know that number, but yeah. But again, it's like the continuity just shifts. The only consistency really they go for is with the characters, I suppose. They're still recognisably the same people, right? It adds more depth, I suppose you'd say, but you're not here going, they've decided, Lister doesn't really work or Rimmer doesn't really work. It just and also you get the novel thing of being inside people's heads a bit more, and seeing what really makes them tick, especially when they do the episode with the 2 Rimmers. That's good, because it really digs into, because the 2 Rimmers thing is great, because it just really, in the series, it's just like it's those early days of really exploring his self-loathing, but it can dig a lot deeper into it. I think it just goes to show as well, like, even though they had those ideas as a sitcom form, they knew not to go too deep on them, but they knew what they were doing, because when it came to writing the novel, they were like, it was all there.
I love the competitive nature between the 2 Rimmers. Obviously it's dealt with in the TV episode, but this one where they're just constantly trying to outdo each other, and they're down to about 45 minutes sleep because
sleep at night. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like I said, I was worried that there's a section of the book that is just descriptions of episodes, and it is a little bit, but it kind of, in a wee bit, it plays on your expectations as well, and as we said, it digs a little bit deeper. But like the Crichton stuff, when they meet Crichton, that's all mostly exactly the same until it gets to the point where Crichton can't deal with the fact that he doesn't have to serve anymore, so he takes his head off and takes the chips out and shuts himself down, and then the rest of the book is Lister trying to fix him.
But also you get the pre-story of why
the
they
Nova
crashed.
5,
which is that Crichton cleaned the computer to make sure it was perfectly clean.
Yes, that's right. Oh, and of course the gag about the Coke advert in the stars, which is so good. It's so good.
I like that it sort of just does the highlights of series 1 and 2 and turns it into more of a saga, because it's that thing, more of a continuing series, I suppose you'd say, because you're not having to, you're not going out on BBC Two and having to reintroduce everybody every week for 30 minutes and sort of tell a story with a beginning, middle and end, and they can all sort of weave in and out of each other.
Yeah, it's funny because I guess we take for granted now, but like those early series as well were absolutely up against it in terms of budget, and everyone saying don't do this, it'll be terrible. And then obviously it was successful and it got commissioned, but like certainly series 1, there was a definite sense of like this might not.
Well, it only got commissioned, didn't it? Because something else that they thought they could do a second series of, they couldn't, right?
That's right. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, something got cancelled or something. Yeah, or they assumed like all the cast had come back for a second series, or the writers or something, and they were just like, no. So they just had 6 episodes, and as luck would have it, they were sort of in the right place at the right time. Yeah, Red Dwarf's another one of those shows as well that has 2 pilots.
2 pilots? Well, there's the American one, right?
No. There's 2 British pilots.
Is there?
And what's so bizarre, again, if you get a hold of well, actually no, because it'll be in the Blu-rays now, but that Body Snatcher collection has the first, because they filmed the first pilot, and I think the audience didn't really know how to take it, so the laughs aren't quite as hard. And there's a couple of minor differences, but it is the weirdest feeling watching it because it's almost identical. And when you've watched something for your entire life like a million times and then watch a slightly different version with different takes, different deliveries, it like itches your brain, man. It's like it's so weird.
Why
but
did
there
I
is
not know about this? Is it on the DVDs?
It's not on the original DVDs. It's only on the Body Snatcher one.
Okay. See, I don't have that.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm a bad fan.
Well, the Body Snatcher one, no, I don't think anybody bought that one, and then it disappeared.
Right.
Like
So-
they basically only ran for, it was a limited run maybe or something, but it was all the remastered.
Right. Of all of the episodes, or of just like key ones?
Well, all the ones that they remastered, which was the first 3 seasons with the new
Right.
CGI and stuff. And then they stopped at the end of series 3, presumably because everybody went, "What the fuck are you doing?" But they brought out a box set, and it had a documentary about series 1 and 2, which isn't on the first DVDs.
Oh well, this is
So
news
you have-
to me.
But if you get the Blu-ray box set, there's a disc that's got all those features in it.
Does it also have all the original special features?
Yeah, it has all the DVD special features on the Blu-rays, and then there's like an extra disc that is the features that was in that Blu-ray box set.
And is it just the BBC series? Sorry, this is captivating stuff for everybody out there, but I need to know.
Oh no, sorry. Yes, so it's series 1. There's a Blu-ray box set of series 1 to 8,
Right.
and it's exactly the same. I think because I haven't got it, but it's the same features as the DVDs for series 1 to 8. But there's an extra disc. For some reason, it comes in a separate slipcase, but it is the Body Snatcher features.
Right.
And the reason it's called the Body Snatcher Collection is that they recreated a script that was not used for series 1, I think.
Right,
2,
okay.
where they did that thing where they did the storyboards and Chris Barry narrates the whole thing.
Right, okay. Excellent.
They did a couple of episodes like that, but there's one and it's called Body Snatcher from, it's like an unused script from series 1 or 2. But you did, it's that special feature disc is amazing because it has all that stuff on it, and including those deleted scenes or scenes that were never made for that dad episode.
I had the extended Tika to Ride. I feel like they did some Series 7 extended episodes, and they took the laughter tracks off them as well, and I remember having them on
so
VHS.
bizarre.
Yeah,
That was really weird.
odd.
Yeah, it was a VHS that had 3 episodes on it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Take Her to Ride was the longest one. But the weirdest thing about it was they'd left in all the pauses.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously they did, but the actors were pausing for studio laughter.
Yeah. Red Dwarf were sort of, in a way, not doing VAM, but like presenting VAM as its own sort of material long before anybody else with things like that and Smeg Ups and things like that. I watched Smeg Ups the other night, actually. I just stuck it on. It's on YouTube. I just thought, I'm gonna relive that time. Do you know when, like, early internet days, I remember going on the Restoration Team forum and going, why isn't there a Smeg Ups equivalent, like a Doctor Who Blu-ray, like a Doctor Who VHS tape, and getting a smarmy response from one of the people. They're not knowing that I was like 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
What makes you think there's any bloopers from Doctor Who or any deleted scenes? And then here we are with Blu-rays full of bloopers and deleted scenes. I'm like, I want to go. If that forum still existed, I'd find that thread and go, "Fuck you, Steve Roberts."
The box set where it's just hours upon hours of studio footage.
Oh my god.
There's your Smeg Ups tape, mate.
Yeah,
Stick that on Christmas Day.
I tell you what, it doesn't matter how committed I am to being a Doctor Who fan and watching some niche shit. I cannot get through those studio recordings for love nor money.
No, it's bizarre. It's a bizarre, even though they're the highlights.
Yeah.
But obviously someone's went, how much can we get on one disc? Hours. But yeah, anyway.
Wasn't it the season 24 that there was something like 25 hours worth of studio footage, and that wasn't
that much?
And it wasn't even all of it. Someone went through and picked out the best bits, and that was 25 hours.
Well, let me tell you, it's not. I mean, if that's the best bits. But yeah.
But should we get back to the novel?
The novel, sorry. Yeah.
I love all the little divergences it does, but I think probably the biggest key one comes towards the end of the novel, and it's the treatment of Better Than Life, which in the series is sort of, it's the impetus for a funny adventure, and everybody plays it. But this one, it's quite a serious drug that people are addicted to.
Yeah.
So the last sort of, the last quarter, maybe the last something like that of the book is.
Part 3 is called Earth.
Yeah.
And it's about them,
And they apparently land back on Earth and lead these very, very different lives. And this is when I'm like, okay, we're really getting, value-added material here.
Yeah.
So what do we think of how it handles Better Than Life?
That one is particularly funny because Better Than Life, there's a lot of potential with an idea like Better Than Life, I suppose, for a start. But it gives you a nice hope for an ending. Like the whole, as soon as you find out what sort of drive the Nova 5 has... And like they mention that, and it's like, oh, that's okay. And you're reading a novel as well, and you're like, well, I guess it has a start, a middle, and an end. So I guess that's how they're going to do this. But then, there's very early days. It's like obviously Lister's in Bedford Falls, and you have the scene earlier in the book where he's watching A Wonderful Life. What's funny, obviously, is when I was a kid, I had never seen It's a Wonderful Life, so I had no fucking idea what was going on. But I got the gist of the story. Yeah, obviously they can explore their fantasies a bit better than they can on like a fucking beach in Rill. Yeah, I mean, on a cloudy day.
There is nothing that says low budget Red Dwarf more than Better Than Life. I think it's just tropical paradise and half fish lady and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they each get their own little fantasies in their own way. So let's talk a little bit about them, because we haven't talked a lot about Cat. And Cat disappears from the book for quite a lot. Well, shows up sort of a third of the way through, disappears for quite a lot of Better Than Life. But when they go and visit him, boy, do they break the budget.
Yeah. Cat's an interesting one in the book, isn't he? Because it's funny in those early series, Cat's a great character, obviously, because he's written so well to be what he is, but he doesn't have a lot of like dialogue, does he? He's more like movement and noises, and there's a great. Is it the book that has? I don't know if it's that one that has the great line about like, the cat's smile entered the room, followed by the cat himself.
But I think it's that thing of they're trying to give the characters more depth, but you can't really give the cat more depth because he is so shallow. You don't want to go into his mind and into his life and discover, the inner workings of the cat. He wants to eat and sleep and collect shiny things,
Yeah.
One day
that's it exactly, isn't it? Yeah. That's it exactly. Yeah, there's nothing there. Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. So we've got Lister's fantasy, which is like he's got Kachansky, a descendant of Kachansky who's exactly like her, and he's got 2 kids with her, and he works in this ideal little town where nobody locks their doors, and
in a kebab shop.
In a kebab shop, yep. And then he goes to see Rimmer.
Yeah.
And Rimmer's one is just obviously the Lister one is like, we're not sure what's happening. By the time we get to Rimmer, okay, this isn't real. Yeah. We just live in this ostentatious, but the hints of the self-loathing is starting to come in as well. Yeah. With his wife, he's got the most beautiful woman in the world, and she won't sleep with him because her body is like insured for some ridiculous amount of money. And
then it turns out she's sleeping with somebody else. Yeah. And then he's having dinner parties and like Caesar's there and Napoleon and people like that, and Lister's going, do you not think it's odd that those people are here? And he's like, no, I invented time travel.
Yeah, but the thing is that section of the book goes on for way longer than I remember it does.
Yeah,
like it's a whole, I don't know if it's like a third, but it's definitely like certainly a good chunk of it. Yeah, last like maybe 50, 70 odd pages, I think. So.
But it is that thing of, again, I'm sort of going, well, this was all very familiar until I got to this point, and then I'm like, well, is this what they've come back to, or is it like, obviously the inference is there that it's Better Than Life, but not having read it before, I was like, is this real? Like, but obviously it is not, and the way they build that up, and especially when we get to the cats, because I mean he basically lives in Valhalla surrounded by Like
Yeah.
Amazonian women or something like that.
Yeah, he has the scene where they're going out hunting and he shoots the dogs. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, also, you're reading it as well. It's like, okay, well, they must have known they were doing the next book.
Yeah.
It's definitely like, here's part one.
So have you read the other books?
I have, but it's been a long time. Like, I read them when I was a kid.
Right.
I remember, obviously, the second one is Better Than Life, but that takes its cue from like series 3 and 4, mostly.
But I wonder whether they do what the TV show does and ignore it all, or whether they do the first couple of chapters of them getting out.
I think it's something like that. I don't know if it's half the book or first third of the book or something. I cannot remember, but I just remember because I know by the end of the book they're doing the pool with planets.
Right, I see.
And I think it might be that they come out of Better Than Life and then that's all going on, possibly, but I can't remember.
I really loved the way it ended. That there was this point of Lister, like them going, "We're going to get out of here," and Lister popping back home, and then just going, "Do you know what? I could just stay. I could just stay."
It's so nice, but it's so heartbreaking at the same time. And it's just because they've done the work with Lister. Yeah. Like, they've done the groundwork in terms of the way they've written him. Him specifically, like, obviously, as we said, Cat's shallow. Rimmer is Rimmer. But Lister's like, he's the heart, you know, and it's and he's the sensible one. He's kind of like almost he's the intelligent one, kind of, for him to just turn his back on it because the reality of his life is so awful. Yeah. He's like, why wouldn't I stay?
There's a brilliant film to be made out of the Better Than Life thing that wasn't even to do with Red Dwarf, but there was a film where everybody was in a sort of Better Than Life simulation, and then they all came out, and it turns out loads of the people were really fat. That's all I can remember. It was like an early noughties and probably starred like Matt Damon or somebody like that. I can't remember.
I can't think what that would be. I don't know what that is, but
it's just appeared in my mind. I'll never find out what it is. But
and Next Gen did a addictive game episode.
Did they?
Yeah, I remember they had the episode where like Riker comes back from his sex holiday with a with a thing, and it's like it's just little tubes that come up, but it plugs into his eyes, and it's a disc in the tube, and it gives him a little rush, and then everybody gets addicted on it, and then suddenly it turns out to be a plot that someone's breaking onto the ship by incapacitating everyone with this fucking weird orgasm game. But what was funny is, like, again, because my stepdad had read the books, when we'd sit and watch Star Trek, he goes, "That's Red Dwarf. They've stolen that from Red Dwarf."
I like the way that Crichton sort of breaks into the game, and he's been stopping them hurting themselves. And what was this? Something where he says, "Oh, I saw Mr. Lister like drink his own sick" or something like that in real life, thinking he was drinking, whatever.
Oh yes. I like the stuff about trying to burn the message on his arm. Yeah. That was great. It's good.
But you sort of go, well, if they do get out, their bodies are going to be horribly mutilated.
I think they do. I think in the second book when they come out, they're all sort of... Well, obviously Rimmer isn't. He's fine. But they come out and they're all skinny and malnourished. And so I feel like there might be a... Like I said, I can't remember. But I've got flashes of memory of bits.
So you've read a few Doctor Who books in your time, listened to a few big finishes. How does something like this compare to Doctor Who spin-offs?
I mean, Doctor Who spin-offs exist in this weird place where, like, some of them can go way off the rails, some of them are a bit more adherent to a particular line, but like when I think about something like I read James Goss's Pirate Planet recently. Right. That kind of had a similar vibe, where obviously a lot of it was based on Adams's original notes, but it's not massively different. That was like that. I guess that could be a little bit like this in a way, where it was like, this is a slightly different telling of the story that you know already, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that, because again, that would do things like, the bit in Pirate Planet where they drop down the TARDIS defenses and the screen goes wobbly. Yeah. The description of that in the book is incredible. Like, that whole scene in the book is just like, this is wild, and I love every minute of it. There's a whole line about how, like, you you would think the TARDIS was screaming, but if you listened harder, it was laughing. You know, stuff like that, and it was just like, it's really cool. And I guess that was like, in a way, it was like playing on your expectations of your knowledge of the story and expanding on what you knew and all that sort of stuff. In a way that a Target novel probably wouldn't.
No, there's like a handful of Target novels that do anything different from the T, especially like when J&T was in charge. It's like it's the script but with more stage directions essentially. And then there's a point where Terrence Dicks is churning them out. But there are occasionally there's ones like the Mythmakers and Remembrance of the Daleks and Curse of Fenric that really sort of go, oh, we're gonna take the pieces of this and move it all around and do something more interesting and add extra layers. But it's a weird hybrid, isn't it, of sort of like a novelisation and a new adventure in Doctor Who terms.
Yeah, I guess, and like the Doctor Who spin-offs, mostly the ones that I've experienced anyway, it's a bit more like experience a bit more of the world that you know and love of Doctor Who. Again, not completely. I know there's loads of, I don't know why I need to keep caveating this, but you know what I mean. Whereas this novel is like we said before, imagine Red Dwarf was, you know, let's take a completely different approach to it and a completely different run at it.
It's a weirdly unfamiliar territory, but at the same time with elements you recognise. I suppose the nearest example is that, and probably not a very good one actually, but it's those big finishes they do now where it's like, here's the original version of the Ark in Space and things like that, where you're like, oh, this is like the Ark in Space but shitter, whereas this is like Red Dwarf but better.
It's the Ark in Space. We've done the Ark in Space script before they fixed it. Before they fixed it for broadcast.
You know that classic adventure from that much loved season? Yeah, there's a shitter version than that. Do you want to hear it?
I know. I love that. Who fucking sold that idea? Listen to, well, how about this? Doctor Who first drafts. Someone's like, let's go, let's do it.
I think Big Finish have done a lot of first drafts before that. Sorry, Nick Briggs, if you're listening.
Yeah, it's funny that I tried to look. I thought there would be more information about the novels and just backgrounds on the novels, or just hearing them talking about it. I'd love to hear just them talking about it, like, but there's nothing.
It's so weird. This is the weirdest thing about doing this version of Too Hot for TV, is like trying to find out background information on other things. It's like you realise how overexposed and how lucky we are as Doctor Who fans that you just go, oh, I'm doing this Doctor Who novel this month, and you go on and there's the full plot synopsis, and then there is a list of all the continuity things that they got right, got wrong, references to other stories, and then it's like, and then like, here's an interview with the writer, and here's an interview with the writer 20 years later, and then here's an interview with the writer 30 years later. So we've caught him at every point of his life, and this is what he thought at all times.
I know, it's mad. There's the one of those Dave Hollins based Red Dwarf scenes with this the one about the time travelers from the Dad episode. Again, they're on YouTube. There's one of the sketches, someone's uploaded it with the commentary from Rob Grant and Doug Naylor.
Oh wow.
And because it's only like a minute, it's like a minute and a half, and towards the end of it, and then the audio cuts, but towards the end of it they were like, oh, remember when we had to write that treatment, and they were like, oh, what was it called? My Pop the Star Cop for Graham Chapman. And then the audio cuts, and I was like, tell me everything about that, please. But that's it. They've just gone. They've left. They've left the room. They're in their cars. They're away. We can't ask them any more questions.
Yeah, whereas, you know, if Toby Haydock was in that room, he would have locked the fucking doors the moment he did that. I'd be like, you're not going anywhere till you tell me about this fucking thing.
I know. It was the added, the cherry on top was the Graham Chapman bit. Well, we did that for Graham Chapman. What? But yeah, it
is odd that there's just nothing. Like, basically, as I'm finding, there is nothing with the volume of spin-offery like Doctor Who, and there is nothing with this sheer amount of information. Like, when every now and then someone uncovers a new fact, and you're like, surely we know everything. Whereas, like, I feel like if I tried to write a Red Dwarf book tomorrow, I reckon, while there is a book called Stasis Leaked that was the history of the show, I reckon I could write a new one and still find out new information some way, somehow.
Absolutely. And it's funny that, remember, did you ever get there was a book It was like a big one. It was like that size. That's a big book. Of the scripts for Red Dwarf 8.
No, I didn't.
That had loads of weird little mental tidbits in it about like how they produced it. This is how I know the fact that Red Dwarf 8 had a smaller budget than Dinner Ladies, because in the intro there's a bit where Doug Naylor moans about how much money they got to make Red Dwarf 8. And how like the dinosaur thing came because a guy was like, I could do that on my computer at home, and he would do it in the computer in his house and then bring the footage.
Incredible.
But anyway, there's a bit in that book where he just drops casually that there was an episode at the end of Series 8 called Earth that got cut, and it ends with them crashing Red Dwarf into Earth. And like the final scene is like them exchanging insurance details with the White House or some bullshit like that. And it's just like, do you realize what you're doing to us when you say stuff like that? Where is that script?
Yeah.
Because I think like the opening, there's a 3-part at the start of Red Dwarf 8. I think maybe it was meant to be a 2-parter.
Right.
And then it got split into 3 so they could deliver 8 episodes.
Right. Yeah, it's wild. It's like, what is the full story behind the Red Dwarf movie that never happened? Like, we know there was a mad fan who claimed to have money and in Australia
who claimed to be a duke or something.
Yeah, and was going to get Kylie Minogue in it. We know that some of the plot elements were used in one of the more recent series, but at the same time, like, I remember watching that season and going, none of this feels like it's part of a blockbuster movie. And I don't mean in terms of production values, but I couldn't figure out what bits it was.
It's weird. If you watch the making of Series 10, I think it is, he does talk about it. Like, there's a simulant called Hoagie. Yes. He was going to be a character in the film. The whole last episode that was like about Rimmer finding out that his parents aren't his dad isn't his real dad or something like that, and then he becomes heroic at the end. The scene where they have to do an operation on Jesus, where they have to go down his urethra or something, I can't remember. That was a scene from the film, and it was the captain. Like, there's little, but so it's like, I think it's like there's jokes and bits.
Right, but it's not a plot.
But it's not a plot. But yeah, again, like, why hasn't a book, give us a book about the film, or give us another special feature. I don't know, give us a documentary or something. Yeah,
it's crazy. We've veered off into Red Dwarf in general, but we love a tangent on this podcast. Yeah. I'm just wondering, we've talked quite a lot about the end of the book. Was there anything sort of earlier on that we haven't covered that you were interested in talking about?
No, I just think, I said it already, but I think the book brings out a loneliness that the show doesn't quite achieve. Yeah. And I feel like my love of those earlier series were enhanced by the book. Because Series 1 is it's like Red Dwarf in its purest form for me is the first series, but also there's no way the show could have continued like it was. I understand that. I love all those later series of Red Dwarf, but like that first series to me is like the most special one. It's kind of like the purest form of like the loneliness and the boredom of space. And they kind of like, they throw in this, because I don't know if they ever explicitly say it in the series, but in the book they talk about how there's no other life.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. They realise that there's no aliens. There's nothing out there. And like in the series, obviously everything in the series is man-made, whether it's like genetically engineered life forms or robots or simulants or whatever. But like, it's never an alien. One
of the things I loved that this book did, and it does it about halfway through, and as you said, it sort of emphasises the loneliness, but it's within the two Rimmer's plots, and it's something so simple. The reason that Rimmer doesn't get on with other Rimmer is because other Rimmer is a copy of Rimmer at the point of death, and Lister has had an effect on Rimmer. And I was just like, of course he has. And as much as they go at each other in the book and in the series, you're like, of course they've had an effect, and of course they've warmed to each other and softened each other, even if the surface level is always friction.
Yeah.
I just thought that was such a lovely reason behind what on TV is a really fun episode, but there's not like, there's not the extra level to it. It's just like an excuse to get the gazpacho soup story out.
That's really good, actually. You're absolutely right. I'd completely forgotten that point. And that's, yeah. That's why, that's like you said, that's why the book is great, because it can explore that stuff. And all it does is helps you understand these characters that you love like just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite special because we all love Red Dwarf.
Exactly. Did you listen to the audiobook? Have you listened to the audiobook?
I haven't revisited that actually, but we talked about this, didn't we? Because I used to have, it was a double cassette, and I had a picture of Starbug on the front, annoyingly. But it was the Red Dwarf radio show. It was called The Radio Show, and it was just narrated by Chris Barry.
Yeah.
And it had sound effects. And that was essentially it. So it was like, it wasn't like a full cast thing or anything. But I do remember listening to that, because obviously, and Chris Barry does great impressions of the rest of the cast. He really does.
He does. I read the book in the end, but I was going to do the audiobook. But I did just have a bit of a skip through the audiobook version just to sort of get a feel from it, and that is the thing you sort of walk away going, oh, Chris Barry's really good at that.
Yeah, he's really good.
Which will surprise nobody, I'm sure. But
do you know, like, what happens with not what happens story-wise, but what happens with the novels further down the line?
I have no idea. Pray tell.
So, Better Than Life is the second one, written by Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. And then they split up.
Right.
So what happens is you've got 2 follow-ups to the second book, and it splits.
Shit.
And you've got one called Backwards, which is written by Rob Grant, and one called Last Human, which is written by Doug Naylor.
Fucking hell.
And they're so different.
Wow.
They're like quite different. Like Last Human's a lot darker. It's really dark. Backwards obviously plays on backwards a lot more, and you know, it's kind of like in a similar vein to the previous ones. I'm interested. I remember getting Last Human for Christmas, and I haven't read it since, but I do like after I've read Better Than Life, I'm looking forward to reading it because I'll be interested, because it's quite, it's got some quite grim stuff in it. Like there's a sex scene with the Gelf when he does the trade, when they do the trade in series 6. Like they get as far as like the Gelf is shagging Lister, and then he has to escape and stuff like that. There's lots of weird stuff. There's this weird scene where Lister's stuck in like a prison ship, and his escape is like quite harrowing and all that sort of stuff. But I don't remember that much about it at all.
Right.
But what I do remember is that again that he split, and then that's it.
Should we wrap up this? Should we rate it? Should we see if it's a clanger, a banger, or an average meander?
I'm going to say it's a banger, obviously.
It's an absolute banger. I was really happy to read it.
Too hot for TV.
So what do we think the future holds for Red Dwarf?
God knows what Rob Grant's doing now, because they obviously had that court case where they managed to settle the rights.
Yeah, so my understanding is it's Doug Naylor who's still making the show, right?
Yeah.
So Doug Naylor is basically carrying on with the old cast. They've announced they're doing another couple of episodes.
They haven't announced it yet, just Robert Llewellyn fucking leaked it.
Ah, really? Interesting. Rob Grant is the one that hasn't been involved in it for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Ever since the split, and there was the big court case. And he's working on a prequel novel and TV series. I bet we never see the TV series.
I know. I was going to say, like, see when the talent is like, oh, we're working on a TV series. Like, I'm going to believe that when I get a BBC announcement or whoever's making it. Because when the writer's like, we're doing a TV series, it's like, okay.
Do you remember Life on Mars, the new series of that was happening for about 5 years? And then they were just like, turns out nobody wanted it.
Yeah, so, and it's like he was talking about how there's ways that you can involve the original cast, but I guess it would have to be like new actors and stuff.
New actors.
And that's really weird. It's very strange that they're like, he's going to be doing one, and they're going to be doing another. And it's kind of like what happened with the books, and it's like, will that happen?
I also just don't think... I think there's a market for Red Dwarf with the original cast that, you know, that Dave audience, they proved it time and time again that, you know, 1 million people will tune into Dave and watch the old gang back together. I don't think it's got much appeal beyond that, but that's fine. And
it's a shame that they won't end it.
Yeah.
Like, I just want, like, for these characters to have been in our lives for as long as they have, it would be nice. I know it's a sitcom, but there's a part of it that's just like, give me something, give me some sort of, and then just let it go. Because
what will happen is somebody will die, and then they will have just let it go, and it'll never quite have that closure. But I don't think whatever Rob Grant's version of the show is now, I don't know what he's done in the last 20 years, 30 years, whatever. but I don't know whether he's done anything that says I can get a big brand new sci-fi comedy show off the ground.
Yeah.
And I guess even with Doug Naylor, he is someone that has kept this thing going and going and going, and it's something for you and me and older fans, but I don't think it's got the energy to sort of reboot or revitalise this show.
Doug Naylor definitely comes across to me as like a sort of frustrated filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they shoot, like when they brought Red Dwarf back, they were shooting on red cameras and stuff like that. But also like look at Red Dwarf 7. They were like, okay, we're going cinematic with this one, and everybody went, don't like this.
If there isn't further life in Red Dwarf beyond sort of the old characters, it's got to be a reboot by somebody that isn't two 70-year-old or 60-year-old dudes or however old the creators are now, surely.
I'd be interested to see how someone would approach that, because it's so like Red Dwarf is its characters.
Yeah.
And it's like you could do something Red Dwarf-esque, I know, but like it's so rooted in its characters, and like I mean, I would have said this about Star Trek years ago, and then Chris Pine came along and played Captain Kirk, and I thought he was pretty good at that. But like, I do feel like if you're not watching those four guys, then you'd be as well just calling it something else, you know?
Yeah. Is there a Gen Z version of Lister, or is everybody too proactive? Yeah,
it would be interesting, because it is like Red Dwarf is quite laddish, not laddish, but it's kind of blokey in its way.
Yeah, it's lagers, curries, and you know, jokes about girls and having a friend called Bent Bob. You know,
you know, it's so funny. I was thinking to myself, like, it didn't do too many jokes that aren't all right, but I forgot about Bent Bob.
Yeah, but that sort of like, I reckon there's probably only a handful if you watch them all through, where they overstep the mark into something that would be seen as a bit controversial today. Yeah, like maybe there's a little bit of sexism here and there, but I don't think they're that. Not
on the level where you're like, you know, oh, I couldn't do this now. Yeah,
and you know, also like I remember there was somebody online probably like 5 years ago who was trying to say that the cat was like a racial stereotype, and like Daddy John Jules just piped up and said it's a racial stereotype of a cat, not of a cat person. It's like, I am not representing black people when I play this character. I'm representing a human feline, you know.
God, can you imagine what Red Dwarf would be like if Danny John Jules hadn't managed to stay in amazing shape?
Yeah. It's true.
Different show.
He never reaches that future version of himself that we see in the end of Series 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, because the character of Lister works getting old, of just the eternal slob in space, like because he hasn't had any societorial need to grow up or to sort of snap out of it. He's just, even though he evolves, and you know, in terms of he's a bit more of a, I guess you'd call him a space pirate in the later versions. He's still like a lager drinking, curry eating, and you know, they play on that old age a little bit in the newer series. Not quite sure why Rimmer gets old, but you know, we'll and Crichton clearly keeps having a lot of hardware updates, and that's why he keeps getting bulkier.
I know. I mean, again, like, because it's Red Dwarf, you just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's also because Red Dwarf is always like, it is a sitcom. It's not set in reality, and I know we want our sci-fi worlds to be believable, but it gets away with not being. It's not the world. The world it inhabits, while they take it seriously, is not a reality. If that makes sense.
It's really funny because when you think about something like, it's better to let's just fucking do it. Because you look at something like Star Trek Picard, right? And then it's like every time a character turned up who wasn't supposed to age, they have to write in some bullshit line about how they've chosen to age. Like Q turns up, he's like, I'm going to pretend to be as old as you. And then Guinan turns up and she's like, everyone was really uncomfortable about the fact that I didn't age. Like, where are they? So you just chose to get old. And then of course Data, who's well,
There's like 400 different versions of Data in the Star Trek universe right now, right?
Yeah, basically. It's better to just have the Red Dwarf turn up and be like, yeah, I guess maybe Rimmer's just been online that long.
Yeah. Or Doctor Who, just pensioners on a rock.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Some daft explanation as to why Peter Davison is back and old.
Doesn't look 29.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very British thing, isn't it? Of like, we just don't have the money to do it on Doctor Who or Red Dwarf. Whereas in America, they're like, we can de-age Patrick Stewart at the end of Wolverine or whatever it was, where you just saw that shiny-faced version.
Oh my god. I remember a friend saying to me, he looked like an egg with progeria. Yeah, it's funny. You watch something like, what was it, Armando Iannucci's version of David Copperfield, where it's like, we jump through different periods of time, and it's just like none of the actors have aged. Like, we wouldn't do it on stage, so why are we going to bother doing it on film?
The most triggering moment in recent TV for me was in Doctor Who 73 Yards when she turns 40 and she suddenly starts acting like a nan. Even though she still looks 19 or whatever she is. I'm just like, come on, I'm 40. I'm not doddering about going, I'm 40 years old. It's like, fuck you, Millie Gibson. Go back to drama school and learn about age.
This is what, because I turned 40, well, last year I turned 40. And when you turn 40, you get a slew of people telling you don't look 40, which is a nice thing to hear.
Yeah.
But you realise after a little while that the reason people say that to you is because in their head 40 is fucking ancient. Like, to someone who's under 30, 40 is like 60.
Yeah.
You know, so when they look at you, they're like, oh, you don't look 40. It's like, it's not because I don't look 40, it's because you think 40 is old as fuck.
Yeah. You expect me to hobble up on a Zimmer frame and ask for half a mild.
Exactly.
So, thanks. Got to tell you how good things were after the war.
Before the internet. Before the internet.
You don't even know what Encarta 96 is. Well, look, Richie, we've babbled on about Red Dwarf spin-offs and indeed the show. I think we've covered it all in quite some depth. No one needs to do a Red Dwarf podcast now.
Anymore, that's it. We're done.
Thanks very much. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the internet?
I guess I'm on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, or whatever the fuck we're calling it, as Richie Morgan. I do a podcast called I Hate Doctor Who, which sometimes puts out an episode. But,
you've just had one out.
Just had one out. Recording another one in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a bit mad. But yeah. I promise it's not about hating Doctor Who. Yeah.
Next time is the season finale of season 4B of Too Hot for TV. So it'll be the final one talking about other franchises before we get back to regular programming. And, you know, it'll be Doctor Who for the next 6 or 7 months. But I'm going to be joined by Ross from the General Witchfinders. And we're going to be doing my dream spin-off. We're doing Terminator. Which, I think I said on the first one of these that I wanted to do a Terminator one and I didn't know anyone who could do it. And Ross messaged me and said, I'm up for it. And so immediately I pounced on him and said, new best friend for life. And so we're doing a Terminator one. We've been through the pantheon of Terminator spin-offs because there's more than you think. And we are focusing on the first 2 films. So we'll be looking at a Terminator comic that came after the first film called The Burning Earth. And then for Terminator 2, we're going to look at the Terminator 2 3D ride.
Excellent.
And the associated toy range that came with it.
Incredible. That toy range, yeah. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah, we'll record another podcast about it straight after this. But until then, I've been Dylan.
I've been Richie.
And this has been Red Dwarf, Too Hot for TV.
Outside, there's no kind of atmosphere. I'm all alone, more or less. Let me fly far away from here. Fun, fun, fun. In the sun, sun, sun. I want to lie shipwrecked and comatose, drinking fresh mango juice. Goldfish shoals nibbling at my toes. Fun, fun, fun. In the sun, sun.
Red Dwarf. Too hot for TV.
Bam, 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 bam.
I need to find a jazzy version of the theme tune. I need to
It's
find
so
a cover
funny.
version.
There's so many crap MIDI versions from every
Yeah.
like. Do you know what's so funny? Like, when I was looking up Red Dwarf stuff today, I forgot about the fucking Red Dwarf AA adverts.
Oh yeah.
Remember them?
Yeah, I do.
They have a crap version of the theme tune at the end of it as well.
Oh, maybe I'll use that.
Yeah. Also, there's I'd forgotten about this, but you know how like they had an online convention a few years ago where they had like a new script written by Rob Grant, and it was read. They cast some fans to do a reading on Zoom.
Oh my god, that sounds dreadful.
Yeah. I mean, I read the first, so I can't find a recording of it, but the script itself is online, and I read the first couple of pages. It's like a follow-on from the season 6
Right.
finale.
Oh, that's
But the
interesting.
first couple of pages aren't very good, but I probably will read it when I've got a bit more time.
I'm surprised that Big Finish don't have a Red Dwarf series, and I can only assume it's because Doug Naylor wants to write it all.
Yeah, maybe that would, you know what, that would make sense actually. There might be some sort of issue with the fact that they both wrote it, but like
Yeah.
but surely like they've got the cast, like do an adaptation of the novels.
Yeah.
Like it's right there, you know.
Yeah,
But-
it's odd, but I just assume that they don't want James Goss writing a Red Dwarf, because what happens if it's better than what they're writing? But,
It's there's remember when series 7 was the first time that they brought in other writers,
yeah,
and one of them was the Crichton episode that was co-written with Robert Llewellyn. And I remember at the time him doing an interview about how hard it is to write Red Dwarf.
yeah,
And like something that's been going on for that long, that's been written by the same two people. You could either have a really bad time trying to recreate it, or just have to do something completely different. I think
yeah.
it would be too much.
Yeah, the last season was all him though, wasn't it? I can't.
Yeah, it went back to being all him. I don't imagine the budget stretches to.
Yeah,
And his son seems to be producing it.
yeah, I think so. It all feels very like in-house.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But also, it's probably because they can't afford to pay anybody any decent money. So it's like
No.
it's got to be people that love it, you know.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be, because it's also this thing of, if you're a producer or I don't know, a DOP or whatever, unless you love Red Dwarf, there's no benefit to learning that way of making television and working that environment, because it's not applicable to anything else apart from the news and
anything.
loose women, you know.
Yeah, I know, it's mad, isn't it? Like, yeah, it really is mad to me that they shot it on like red cameras and all that sort of stuff. But like, yeah, because you've got the Back to Earth stuff again. When you look at the behind the scenes stuff of Back to Earth, the visual effects guys were from Weta.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but they were from Weta and they were just fans. So
Yeah.
that's how they couldn't afford them any other way. But they were like, we'll do it on the cheap for you.
Wasn't Back to Earth essentially supposed to be like another Red Dwarf night with some skits and Rob
It was like,
Grant
yeah, it's
sort
like
of
going to be,
went-
it's meant to be a clip show, and he
Yeah.
went, I'll do you a full episode for the same money.
Fucking hell.
But it's mad because there's a great, like, there's a really funny bit. Do you know the shot? God, I never even got to talk about how annoyed I was at the Blade Runner stuff. Anyway, the shot of like Parliament and the Thames and like the Blade Runner building.
Yeah.
In the behind the scenes, the guys from Weta have to buy tickets to the London Eye so they can get up high enough to take the reference shots
Wow. Fucking
that
hell.
they then use for the visual effects shot. It's incredible, and it's just like that's how. I think that's why, like, it makes me wish I loved it, because it's just like I love that level of like, we don't have any money, we're just fucking doing what we can here.
Yeah, yeah. And it really is an absolute fucking disaster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, I thought, you know, going back to it, like, maybe, because I really like the other series. Like, there's a couple of duff episodes, but in general, I really like the new series that they've done. And I thought, maybe I've got it wrong. It was like when I went back to Torchwood Miracle Day, and I thought, maybe I've got it wrong. And it's like, no.
I know it's yeah, no, that one stinks. I remember because that was the same weekend that Planet of the Dead was
Yes, yeah. I was thinking, this weekend is made for me.
I know. Oh my god! And I was in London. I think I missed it. I had to wait till I got home, and I remember getting a text from my mate saying, "If I was to describe to you what's going on in Red Dwarf, you wouldn't believe me." But like, genuinely, not even the it's a TV show stuff. It's all the Blade Runner stuff is like the most offensive stuff to me, and it's because it sets off something in my head where it goes, nothing in Red Dwarf is based on Blade Runner. Nothing.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? But yeah.
Yeah, it was an absolute car crash of the first degree.
I know.
But they pulled it back.
They did. Well, they obviously got some money and just built some sets and
Yeah.
did it properly, I suppose.
Went back to the standard format.
Yeah. It's funny. Do you remember? Because you remember when like the film was in development,
Yeah.
and every Friday the website would put up something about the film.
Yeah.
Whether that would be like a storyboard, because there was storyboard sequences. But there was at one point Doug Naylor was saying, "I'm thinking about shooting the movie in front of a studio audience."
Fucking hell. That strikes as desperation.
Yeah, which was absolutely mental. I don't know if that was like, but he was talking about doing it in front of a studio audience and it was like, I don't know if that was like a post Red Dwarf. I feel like Red Dwarf 7 was like the one where everybody went, we can't do it this way, we're gonna have to go back. And then Red Dwarf 8 was like, remember when Red Dwarf 8 came back, and everyone was like, okay, we're back in now.
Yeah.
This is more like it, for better or for worse. But the it wasn't. I guess it wasn't too long after that he was like, yeah, I might do it in front of a studio audience.
What does that film look? I mean,
well, the last I guess it would have looked something like that last special, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose. I wasn't too fond of that last special. I was a bit like, I haven't watched it since, but I remember thinking, oh, this isn't as good as the other series they've done.
I didn't mind it, but I haven't watched it since either.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. Like, it's so funny. The whole cat storyline felt like a, like, has that been waiting for you to?
Yeah.
It's like a break glass to use. Bring the cats back, because it was always weird to me that they never brought them.
Yeah.
Back, but yeah.
You do get that. Is it in series 1? You get the episode with the dying priest, who is General
the boy
Smythe.
from War Games.
Yeah. General Smythe, is it? And it took me years to put those two together, and I was like, oh my god. I don't know why, because War Games and Red Dwarf seemed infinitely far apart when I was a kid, but there's probably 20 years in it, if that. In fact, not even.
I only just realised today that Mavic Chen is the boy for Invasion.
Yeah. It's because he's in his best Tom Jones costume and when he's playing Mavic Chen.
Oh, Christ.